Hello, this is where we left off. The modelling's done, the texture's done. Now I'm going to add the lighting, but before that I'm going to set the scene up so that the lighting will get the maximum effect from it basically. But I want to do one more thing before I do that. Click on his eye and do that, Control J. And you see what's happening because I've still got a mirror on eye. Take that back. Grab that eye, apply the mirror, and the Control Shift click again, Control J, and join that back to the body, so when I move him about his eyes don't get shifted. So now I'm going to try and set up a scene for him. I'm going to do a Shift A, mesh, and I'm going to bring in a plane. There is ways of doing this. You can use like a scene to build it for you. Just do all this, but I just want to just warp it a little bit, just to get him like that. Get my character where I can get a good view of him, like that. Control Alt 0. Put my camera to the front. Click on the N on the keyboard to open the side panel, and if I come down to view, I want to lock the camera to view. This will allow me to move the image about like that without moving the camera. To get a good view I want to look at. Then I'll unlock the camera. Go to this 0 on keep. Close the side panel first. Go to 0, and that's a good view of the character. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and misshape this plane a bit because it's a bit too flat. So I'll go tab into it and I'll do a Control R, just a minute, Control R, and I think I'll put a load of loop cuts in like that. We'll see why in a minute. Go to that side, I'll do a Control R that way and put another load in. This is just so I can come in, grab hold of any square like that, there. In fact, I'll put it into normal view so you can see it. Well, that's even worse. Go back to shading. Turn on proportional editing by pressing O on the keyboard, and you can tell it's on by this little circle thing here at the top. Let's go to 1. I'll grab it on the Z, scroll in, bring my wheel of influence in a bit and pull it up, which it's not pulling up. Hang on, have I grabbed the face? 3, no 1 I mean. Grab it on the Z and bring it up. Why isn't it moving? Just a second, let me find what's wrong with this. Grab it on the Z. That's better. Can't have been in edit mode. Grab it on the Z and bring it up like that. Scroll your wheel out and that will make him like a little mound to stand on. So I'll come over here a bit more like that. Grab another one. Grab that on the Z. Scroll my wheel of circle of influence forward and bring that down a bit. We're just creating like little valleys, that's all. This is what the light will catch. So I'll do the same over there and I'll bring a little one up over there. Grab it on the Z. And I might bring a bigger one up at the back. Grab that on the Z. Like that, just something like that. And I'll bring the corner up there, grab it on the Z. and I'll do one more there, grab that on the Z and bring that down, bring my wheel in, circle of influence in a bit. Basically I don't want it too flat and I don't want it too hilly. Grab that on the Z and I'll grab that on the Z. So what I'll do now, like I say, you can use modifiers to do that for you, but it's simple to do that, quick enough to do it. I'll do it A, U and unwrap it because it's a plane, there's no need to cut it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give that a texture. So I'm going to come down to my texture panel at the bottom, click on New, and I'll call it Ground. Well, I haven't ever spelled it right. G-R-O-U-N-D. Come back to 1, and if I come, you can see underneath how it's pulled it up. Ideally you don't want to see the underside, so I'll do one more thing before I go any further. I'll just grab that edge, running all the way around if it'll let me. Go back to 1 and I'll grab that on the Z and just bring it down a bit like that, just so when I look through the camera you're not seeing the edge. I can scroll out a bit more if I want. I think I'll do that. Lock the camera and scroll out a bit more like that, and I can see more of those hills like that. And finally him which is tool oil, looks like he's like a mole. I'll click on him, go to 1, grab it on the Z and bring him up now so he stands up top of that hill like that. Now I'll give it some texture. Just make sure A, U, unwrap it to its new shape. I'll come in now, do a Control Shift T in shading, because I've already got a ground texture I went and found for another project, which is in my buggy folder again. So let me find that. It's in Doom Buggy. Textures, and it's the ground texture I'm looking for. So look at that one. That's it, grass. That we're lucky to find that first time. Again, proper naming convention helps. So that's giving me grass effect. Now if I come into shading again, not to shading, UV editing, you can see that's my plane there, all unwrapped. So I'll do an A and scale that out a bit, just so that grass is not as big in the texture like that. And if I do a look through the camera, F12, you can see how we're starting to catch the light a bit. So I'll Control S and save that back into with my layout mode, and now you'll see it better when I get this lighting in place and I put an HDRI in. So turn the lights on, grab the sun, go into front view, and the sun is an infinite light source, which means no matter where you put it, it will light the scene up just like the normal sun, but it's the way you rotate it that gives it its shadows. So grab that on the Z, bring it up like that, grab it on the X, bring it across there, and I'll rotate it on the X. No, I'll rotate it on the Y, I mean. Come on, rotate. Rotate. Just a minute, I've just realised my screencast keys are on as well. I'm more trouble with these screencast keys. Rotate it like that, there we go. And then I'll rotate it this way. Rotate it up a bit more, because when I look through the camera you can see the shadows starting to form, and this is what does it. It's by rotating it. So that's my sun in place, and I think what I'll do is I think I'll change that colour and I'll bring it down, just give it a more sunny colour, something about there, just off yellow, about there. Click into there. I like that. Control C to copy the X value, because now I'm going to put in another light, and I'll bring in an area light. And before I do anything else, click on that, click on the X, click on the X, Control V, and paste that back in. That'll give it the same colour. And I also want to change the strength of my light bulb, because at the minute it's only a 10 watt, and you can see brighter candles than that basically. So I'll put that up to a 50 watt bulb. Let's have another render. And now I ain't moved the light, so that will help. Grab that, let's go to 3, grab it that way and rotate it out like that. It's the way that you rotate them that gives the shadows. So I want to bring that forward like that and rotate it, because I want the shadow to cast that way across the hill. That's a bit better, because we're getting the shadow at the bottom of the hill now. That's what I'm looking for. Yes, it's starting to shadow out the tops. And I could do a Shift D, just a minute, Shift D, and bring another one of those in, rotate that back a bit, and have another look, see what that does. Now I think it's better as it was before. I think I'll put that light over there, rotate that back round again, have another look. And at this point you can't really tell till I get the HDRI in. So I put my lights in there, turn that off a minute. Where's me, that one? So I've turned my lights back off now. Let's zoom in on him again. Where is he? There he is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in an environment texture now. So if I go to the little world panel here, that little circle with like an arrow through it for some reason, and the background, I want to click up to, I want environment texture. When I find it, where's my environment texture gone? Well, they moved it in this version. I don't know where it's gone to. It used to be there. I'll do it another way. I'll tell you what I have got. I did another course on Udemy by 3D Tudor, and he supplied with some textures on that, so I have got some of those. So I'll do a file, append, because I can't find the environment thing. I don't know where they moved it to. I'll go. It's on my hang on, it's on my hard drive. It's in my 3.0 folder, and it's down medieval scene, and that's who it is. That's 3D Tudor. He makes all like Victorian houses and that sort of thing, guillotines. Really good courses if you find them on Udemy. And click on that one, click on the HDRI, click on that one, and the one I want is world. Append. Click on that one, bring that in. Now when I go to, when I find it, where's my world, when I click the drop down there and I go to HDRI setup, click on that one, it goes very pink. That's because there's no texture in it. You see, It's like an alien planet or something. Now what I've got to do is go into shading, click this little drop down here. Where is it? World I'm looking for. Where are you? Change that to world. And that's the HDRI I've just brought in. Like I said, you can find this on 3D Udemy. Just check him out. It's very good courses. Then I'll open that one and I'll come back to that same folder again. I think it was the wrong one. 3.001. There we are. I've been doing Blender since 2.8. I'm on 3.5 now, so where were we? Medieval scene, there it is. Back into the resources. Now if I click on the HDRI now, I've got a choice of 8. This is what I was looking for. Put one of these in before. I'll bring in a sunny day. And now if I do a render, you can see how much brighter he is now. But now I've lost some of the shadowing, so I've got to come back to there and I'm going to turn down the HDRI now. When I find it, where is it? Is that it? Just a minute, I'll go back to my normal view. It's too small for me to see it in there. Let's find my little world. There he is, that's right. HDRI, and I'm looking for the strength. I want to bring down the strength on that. I'll bring it down to something like a 4.3 to start with, just till we start to get the shadows back. What I can do is I can mess about now and try and get the lighting right. Let's try with the sun for a start. Grab the sun, grab it like that, pull it back, rotate it that way a bit. Let's have a look, keep checking. And what I can do for a start, before I go any further, I don't like him looking straight on like that, so I'll just go to view, lock the camera and turn it a little bit like that, so it's just off centre. Like that. F12 again to make sure. Yep, so far so good. Now I've got to get the shadowing back now, so I could turn the HDRI down lower, see if that does it, and then bring my lighting up. I have got a slight shadow there, so I think I'll bring my lighting up a little bit. Let's come down to my sun, my bulb, and I'll put that up to something like 1.2. Let's have a look. It's a bit better, I think. I'll grab my area lights, which is these, and I can make that one bigger by just scaling it. Let's have a look at that. That's a bit better. I'll do the same with the other one. Scale that. I think we're getting a shadow slowly. And I think what I'll do is I'll remove that light for now. Take that one out so I can mess about with these two and get this shadow right first. Then I can brighten it up a bit. So grab that one, rotate it that way like that, rotate it up, we're getting a bit of a long shadow cast now there. And I think I'll put another area. Hang on, what's that light doing over there? No wonder it wasn't working. Let's do an Alt R, put it back to its right place. 3, rotate that way. Right, let's go back to 1. Just a minute, 1, that's right. And rotate that way now. That's brightening up a bit better there. And I think I'll put another light in now to throw a shadow this way. So I'll add another light, an area light. Grab that on the Z, bring it up, bring it over there like that. Let's go to 1, rotate it that way, and I'll put a bigger bulb in it. I want to do any, and also why you're not getting them as bright, because I've changed the colour as well. So change the X on that, and I'll bring that up to something like an 80-watt bulb. 80, that would help. F12 to render it, and I think that light wants to come nearer. I'm in rendered view. Let's grab that, bring that a bit further over, that one, and scale that up, make that a bigger bulb. It's just trial and error trying to get the lights right, because we brought the HDRI in, you've got to compensate it. And now I think I'll turn that bulb up a bit more. Let's give it like a 200-watt bulb. And I've just realised something. Why haven't I got a background? Hang on, let me turn my HDRI up a little bit now. Put that up to 4. I've got a little shadow, but not what I'm wanting. Let me rotate that sun a bit more. See, there's a little bit going down here, but it's not a lot. I'll increase the sun a bit more. And put the sun up to something like 1.5. I think that says 1.5, can't see it. F12. We're getting a bit brighter now. That's what it wanted. I wanted the sun turning up a bit. So I'll come up a little notch more, 1.8. That's better. Now we're getting the shadows back. We're compensating. Now we're counteracting the HDRI lighting. And I can scale that a bit more. That's it. That's not bad, but I'm still not happy with the lighting yet, so I'll rotate that one round a bit more, bring it across on the X. Let's go to 1, bring it down like that, and let's see what that does. Now it's took the shadowing off again, but I wanted to light his face up at the same time, so I think get rid of that one, delete it. F12, and I think what I'll do is I'll just grab that one. I'll do a Shift D Y, Alt R to remove any rotation, go to 1 and drag that into the center like that, and just let's light it from above. getting there slowly. It's just trial and error to get these lights right. But what I will try and do is bring that forward a bit and just try and get a bit of light on the front of his face. That's better. We're still getting the shadow down there, which is what I'm looking for. Let me save that where it is. Now I'm going to make a few changes to settings now. Just let me turn the lights off a minute so they're not in way. I'll come up to here, click on the top, the rendered one, like a little briefcase I think it is. And at the minute we're in Eevee. I want it in cycles, so go to cycles. I have a GP RTX 3070 GPU on this, so I'll click on experimental and click on device, and I want to use my GPU. And my GPU will render it out a lot faster. It's like real world lighting, in other words. You see, he's rendering, but I'm not getting that lighting I'm looking for. I wonder, where's the lighting gone? Just let me try something. Grab that, do a Shift D and put another sun in. A lot of it's down to the ground because the ground will reflect the light back up. If I take the texture off, it'll be really bright, but I didn't want the texture off. I'm going to grab that one, bring it down, and I'm going to increase that one. I'm going to ramp that one right up. It's only on 50 watt. Let's put it on 200. That's better. It's lighting his facing up. You can see the little reflection of his eyes now. So I might rotate that light, go into side view, rotate that light up a bit. If I bring it down a bit more, rotate it up a bit. We're getting there now. I'm getting the lighting from his eyes now. But I'm still not getting that shadow I'm looking for. So I'll grab that sun, bring that over there, rotate it like that, rotate it back that way, and let's have a look again. And it could be something to do with the size of the plane as well. Scale it in a bit. No, I'm not happy with that. Like I said, if I take the grass off, it'll be a nice size, but I want the grass on. I could even make my character a bit bigger, that would help. But I'll have to unwrap him all again, so let's continue with this lighting. You don't want that many of these in that it causes problems, so take that one back out. X that out and get rid of it. That's delete. Go to 1 and I'm going to bring in a different light this time. I'll use a spotlight. Grab that up, put it to there and rotate that across now. And let's try and light him with a spotlight. I'll make that 200 before I start, and I'll change that to match the others. Control V. Let's see what that does. I'm trying to throw the shadow down the hill and it won't go for some reason. It's the lighting, definitely the lighting. I think what I need to do is, let's try and get rid of that one. Come on, delete it. And again, it's just trial and error. I think we might be onto something. Grab the sun. I don't know where the sun's pointing, just a minute. Rotate that. Let's go to 1. Rotate it down again. I'm getting that slight shadow up back at Hill. And I've got a slight shadow around his feet now. So I'll leave that where it is, that one. And I'll ramp this one up a little bit, put it to 300. Render that. Yeah, I think we're getting somewhere now. So I'll do a Shift D, Y, rotate that round, just put a bit of light on the back of the hill. And I think that's a bit better. I can see the texture coming out in his face. Where's my spotlight? Did I take spotlight out? Must have done. Light, spotlight. Grab that to there. Rotate it forward to try and throw a bit of light from the back. And I'll come down. I'll just ramp it up now just so I can see it. No, I'm just not getting the shadowing I'm looking for. Take that across there, rotate that, I think what I'm best to do, I'm getting too many lights, best to just take that out and start again without the lights. Just leave the sun in. Let's do an F12. It's all down to the HDRI at the moment. If I reduce that strength down a bit more to 3, you can see the shadowing starts to form then. I think that's what I'll do. I'll take that down very low like that, F12, and then I'll bring my lights back in. I'll do a Shift D, bring that, not that one, Control Z, grab that one, Shift D, Shift D, grab it all like that, rotate it round again so it faces, and you can see it shimmering as it's changing it. Let me ramp that one up to 2, I think. The upshot is if I turn the HDRI off, it'll do it. Bring that down to 2 like that. You can see the shadows forming now on the hill. But I'm not getting him bright enough, which is what I want. So I think what I'll do is I'll just bring in one more light and I'll leave it a very weak light. I'll bring in a square light, bring it up like that, just close to the top of his head, just to highlight the top of his head, to shine down on him a bit. And let me put that bulb up to something like 30 watt. And you can see that's too bright now, so that is working. Now I know what we're wrong with it. I'll covering too great a distance with lights, apart from the sun. Bring that back like that. rotate that forward, and we should see a shadow start to cast from behind him. You can see it forming a little bit. Rotate that. Scale that up a bit. F12. And at last, that's what I'm looking for. I'm starting to get a little shadow off his feet. That's what I'm wanting. So I'll just scale it up a bit more. We're getting there slowly. And I'll just change that colour of that bulb then. And I'll leave it at that because you mess about with it forever. Control V. Where is it? A minute. Where's the light gone? Just a minute. Grab my light bulb. Control V, paste that in, which it's already in. And I'll just bring that up to a 50-watt bulb, I think. You see, when you're rotating round him, when I get the rotation in, it'll rotate round like that. And that's what I'm wanting the light to hit in different places then. That's when you see the light, and you can see how it's lighter on this side than this side. And I think that's what's causing the problem. Just grab that one. Grab it on the X. That way a little bit. Rotate it a bit more. Let's do an F12, have a look. I'm trying to get his little face to light up as well. So Shift D, bring that one forward, rotate that back round like that, grab it up there, rotate it down a bit. That's about as good as I'm going to get it, I think. A lot of it's down to the darkness of the textures I've got on. And the HDR environment. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get that. Grab it on the Z. Rotate it a bit. Yeah, I think that's about as good as it's going to get. I could put one right in front of him. And I might just try that, just to see if it will work. Just a minute. It's better. You can see the lighting's working from the side. Let me rotate that up a bit. Scale it down a bit. Don't want it as powerful. That's what I'm looking for. To light his little face up as well. And we've got a little bit of ambient occlusion, like around his feet, a little bit of shadowing. So I think I'll let that render out. And this one at the back, I'll change that to the colour of the others, which it already is, I think. And I'll make that an 80-watt bulb. That'll do there like that, I think. And one last thing, I might just scale that scene out a bit. And then grab him, bring him up again, just so his feet's on the floor. And that might have helped. I think his feet were inside the mesh. That's better. I'm going to let that render out like that. So basically, it's rendering that out in cycles now, and it'll give you up here a time of how long it'll take. Like I said, I've got an RTX 3070, so it shouldn't take that long, but it will be quicker if I put it in wireframe mode. Now render it. That's what I'm looking for. And then as he rotates, then when I get him rotating, the light should cast from different directions. But I just want to render to start with. And I'm just wondering if I should do the rotation now. It's just slowing down, so I think it's finished. Yeah, it's, where is it? Wrong one. Image. Yeah, it's finished. I'll just put that on my desktop for now. Call that Sackboy 1. Control S, and I will end this video here, where I'll come back and I'll make the camera rotate around him then. So thank you for watching, and I'll be back in the next one.